Hi, let us philosophize about politics in Africa and here in Kenya, my country, Kenya. Do you think that the left will reinvent itself here in Africa and here in Kenya? You know, look, what happens in America never stays in America. You know that the democratic socialists, under the charismatic leadership of Zoran Mamdani, has reinvented the left in that country. People like Bernie Sanders have tried this for years, for decades. It has never worked. But 34-year-old Zoran Mamdani has managed to do it. And both the Republicans and the Democrats are in a panic mode. The MAGA movement, the white racist MAGA movement, is in a panic mode. They do not understand how all of a sudden Americans are voting in these leftist politicians. And not just that, it's far more complicated than that. It's not just a question of ideology. Some of the people being voted in are immigrants. Even Zoran Mamdani himself was not born in the United States of America. Some of them are Muslims, like Zoran himself is a Muslim. Al Sayed is a Muslim. There are others across the board. And they are gaining favor every day with the American electorate. That means something has shifted fundamentally in the politics of the world's superpower. In fact, I would say that the MAGA gangster extremism has created serious internal contradictions, which are now beginning to show in this election of these leftist politicians. People who are talking about affordability, affordable housing, affordable transport. They are saying they cannot support genocide. They are saying they cannot support an economy that is based on benefits only to billionaires. They are saying you have to tax the billionaires so as to provide services to the society. So those are socialist values, socialist ideas. And they are propagating these ideas every day in their political discourses. So somewhere down the line, these ideas will become prominent within the American political establishment. There's no running away from this. The Democrats are confused. The Republicans are even more confused. The MAGA gangsters are totally confused. All right, let's come back to Africa and let's come back to Kenya. So I want to tell you something about our political parties. Yes, our political parties are very weak. Some people say they lack ideology. Wait a minute, people don't quite think about this issue of ideology clearly and properly. It doesn't mean that if I don't go out there shouting about some ideology, then I don't have an ideology. Political parties in Africa have an ideology. You see, the lack of ideology itself is an ideology. Secondly, I've told you many times that, the world order you live under shapes ideology, shapes ideas, shapes your thinking and your thinking processes as well. So under the liberal international order, where all of us were supposed to embrace a capitalism and liberal democracy, if you remember the thesis by Fukuyama, End of History, and The Last Man, where he said every society now is embracing liberal democracy, and the capitalist means of organizing society's economics. It means that those are the ideas that our political parties embrace. Our political parties across Africa are right-wing parties. Only that our capitalist, so-called capitalist system is a pseudo-capitalist system, is a predatory system based on corruption, based on patronage, what we call in political science neo-patrimonialism. So never ever accept anyone cheating you that our political parties have no ideology. They do. They are right-wing parties. They believe in, private property. They believe in favoring capital. They do not make social investments. You know what happens with your governments. They would rather loot the economy than invest in education, than invest in research and development, than invest in technology, than invest in health. They don't do that because when they are sick, they can travel abroad. If you are a Kenyan elite here, you go to South Africa, you go to London, you go to the US, you get superior quality of treatment there. You don't care about the people you leave behind. So the ideology of our parties, political parties across Africa, is a right-wing ideology. They do not believe in social spending. They would rather loot the economy the same way the Democrats and the Republicans do in the United States of America. They follow the same script, the same script that is followed there. But of course, the Americans will tell you we are not corrupt. But how can you say you're not corrupt when billions upon billions are going to war contractors? Billions upon billions are spent in killing people's children in other places, while the same billions can be spent inside America to make life easier for human beings, for people, for workers, for students, for teachers, and so on and so forth. So my question was whether the left can reinvent itself. We had left-wing politics, socialists in the early 60s. Of course, you know what happened to Oginga Odinga, who said not yet Uhuru. He was called a communist. The UK, the US, and the Kenya's comprador class then under Jomo Kenyatta ganged up against Oginga Odinga because he believed that the people should be given the land that was taken away from them. People like Bildad Kagia are very, very important to mention. Bildad Kagia, because Bildad Kagia is the only person from central Kenya, perhaps one of the only people from central Kenya, who rebelled against Jomo Kenyatta's then emerging predatory system, pseudo-capitalist system. And Bildad Kagia was a leftist. He was associated with Jaramogi Oginga Odinga's politics, together, of course, with one of the people, the earliest people to be assassinated by the system, Pio Gama Pinto. These were leftist scholars on one side. On the other side, on the right-wing part, there was Jomo Kenyatta, there was Tom Mboya,